So hello everyone. Now that Shivaarti is finally here, we can start off with the session. So let me formally welcome you all and thank you once again for joining our much-awaited Power Hour session. I'm so thrilled to welcome and introduce Ms. Shivaarti Bajaj today for our power-packed session on IPR Laws, where we'll be talking about the new world as Web 2 and Web 3 and its legalities of what may or may not govern us in the tech age. But before that, I would like to share a few interesting facts about our eminent speaker for today's session. Shivaarti, as everyone knows, is the co-founding managing partner for RST Bajaj Global Law Firm, which is India's first full-service, digital-first strategy advisory, full-service law firm. But that's not all. She has donned various feathers in her hat as she is a renowned voice of Red FM podcast series with RJ Kabir. And if you watched business news, you would have seen her as a panelist sharing industry insights on various relevant subjects, from how businesswomen are coping up with COVID, various government initiatives like Atal Tinkering Lab, and several others. She has mentored startups. She's been actively involved in various discussions on entrepreneur initiatives by Niti Aayog. Her diverse personality doesn't limit her only to legal matters, as she is also a qualified patent attorney agent in India, and she successfully completed specialization in entrepreneurship in emerging economies and businesses from Harvard Business School. She's the co-founder of Indian Netizens and Indian Entrepreneurs Welfare Association, which is a policy think tank. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Shivaarti Bajaj today. Welcome, Shivaarti.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Yeah. So I thank you. Yeah. Sorry, I was just getting the screen right because we're going to do it in a hybrid format, is what I understand. Thank you for your very kind words and the introduction. And I'm glad to be here to be hosting a session at Sopra and Sopra Steria. And I think I will quickly proceed to discussing what I'm here for. And as much as possible, I'd like to keep the session interactive because I don't think it's a very good idea to teach tech to a company that is a leading tech company within itself, who are actually developing softwares on which we will be discussing the legal implications and what they actually are. So can we just have the slides, please?
Sure. Should I share the screen?
Yes. Yeah.
Sure.
Fine. Okay, it's working. So hi everyone. I believe you are here, and which is great, thank God. And there are a lot of us probably on an online format. So I'll just try to cater to everybody here in terms of their presence, virtual or digital, which is primarily the essence of our topic today. The digital world coming in line with the physical world. And that is why the topic is the legalities of what may or may not govern us in the tech age, which is basically a new tech game and what are the new rules of the game. And when we say rules, we mean law, because currently, if I will be for the point of reference using whatever is happening physical here as a reference point of Earth, and the other as blockchain and Metaverse and other tech. So yeah, can we move to the next slide, please? In a quick 2-minute brief, we'll just discuss just to understand where I'm going to take this whole session today in terms of industry insights and in terms of the age that we are in. Now, age, as we understand, there are two ways to understand it: in the technical industry format and in the format of our spirituality in Hinduism, which we call as the Kali Yuga. So, which is basically what we are in spiritually, but on Earth, we are in the industry 4.0 age, from 1.0, 2.0 to 3.0. 3.0 is very recent. What is interesting to note here is the 3.0 systems include your electronics, IT systems, basically a manufacturing age to a great degree. Whereas in the 4.0 age, which we are now calling ourselves to be in, is what we see here is the cyber physical systems, industrial IoT, and the things that go with it. Next, please. So as Mark Benioff has very popularly said, that the fourth industrial revolution starts with one very important point: trust. And next, and other than that, there is another important point that we will be looking at going forward. That would be data. But what is data? So to just understand data, this is a slide just to get everybody on the same page in terms of our information has been divided into two scopes, Web 2 and Web 3. Web 2 is what we've been living right now. I mean, most of us would know what Web 2 is. I mean, it being an IT giant, we understand what websites, apps, and all that you all must have been involved in one point or the other. And Web 3, and then there is artificial intelligence, which is actually coming in the center. I think it's a little bit of a hassle in the slide. And then Web 3 is your AR, VR, and your blockchain. And we will be discussing how these things are so new and so lawless, yet where does the law lie in when it comes to all the aspects of the new age? Because currently we are living on the law of the land as we're being controlled by various acts that are going on. As I said popularly, we will be using the word earth for that. And apart from that, we will be using what are the acts from earth that will apply to the new Web3 space is what we are going to be cursorily going through from today's session. And it'd be great if you can ask whatever questions come to your mind going forward. Next, please. So as we just saw in the previous slide, the digital age transformation is led by tech and tech companies. The one we are sitting in right now, Sopra being a big leader in that in a very big way. So you know what I'm talking about. And the crux of everything here is data. And that is the reason we say that data is the new oil, because it is data that is the backbone and the end result of everything that is web right now. Next, please. Right. So going forward, like we discussed in our 2 slides back, what were the basic aspects of the web world that are changing things? And going forward, we'll be taking like some interesting examples of each and seeing how they kind of affect us or world over globally. So there'll be the next big 4 world-changing disruptions in Web3 and the legalities around it is what we're going to discuss going forward. Now coming to the first disruption, as we said, data is the new oil. So when we say data is the new oil, this in a big way means that what we all are sitting here. We probably Google knows we are here, analytics knows we are here. So all of this is a very, very small form of data. They actually know a lot about us, with like more than we even think, which we all know because you guys are IT companies, you know, you do it day in and day out. But what is the legal aspect of that data? Now, the legal aspect of that data, which we are calling the new oil, and some people are even calling it more important than gold in a big way, is the governance of these laws. Which since it's a company based out of Europe, I've included GDPR also as a concept. Right. Because in Europe, it is covered under the GDPR laws, which is the Global Data Protection Rights. And in India, it is under a bill right now, the Personal Data Protection Bill. But currently, it is being ruled under the IT Act and the IT Rules of 2021, in which they were intermediary guidelines and the Digital Media Ethics Code, in which we saw the very popular spat of Twitter, which was all over the news. What was it? Twitter was just an example of data privacy being implemented as a law in India, wherein they say all companies which are not direct platforms but intermediaries, like your Google, your social media handles, where they say we are not producing any data. There is a Amit who's uploading a data on Google, or there is a Shivani who's putting her pictures on Instagram. There is a Amrita who's putting information on YouTube. We are not doing anything. There is some Mr. Mehta who's putting a tweet on Twitter. What are we? We're just an interface. Now, under the new bill, which they have covered under the new rules are which are currently applicable, bills is jo abhi aana hai aage. So from that perspective, it is a legislation. So the Twitter spat basically was Twitter was saying that we have no office in India. So these are tech giants, right? They have no offices in India, nothing, and they're making multi-million dollars from here. Why? Again, on the basis of data. So this data is something that needs some answerability. For that purpose, it is very simply put that once if I'll just take a very quick example of Twitter because it's a very popular one and it really did the rounds in the news. So in this case, what happened was Twitter was told to have a redressal mechanism for data protection in India. There is Paytm that has been told to have its servers, basically fintech, the data localization in India. So basically these people need to have a representative in India, which will be the data officer, the data authority, and a server. So why I'm mentioning it here is because we will be taking it at the end, how it is important for companies like Sopra to also understand when they're doing softwares, when they're doing their companies compliances for corporates has become compulsory going forward. It bears a cost to them, it bears an answerability. But what is the point is what we're going to discuss going forward. And in fact, there's a very interesting judgment here. I don't know if all of you have heard of, I don't know how many of you, maybe online if somebody joined, watch Roadies, right? So there was this participant from Roadies called Ashutosh Rana who won Roadies in some episode, and he has filed for a petition to right to forget, which has been granted under Indian law as a fundamental right, like right to privacy. Like I don't want to share my data with anybody is a fundamental right in India right now. Similarly, right to forget is also a fundamental right, which is being currently applied for. Like forget means I'll just discuss Ashutosh's case right now. He had, I think, a drunken driving case, and he kind of caused some injury to somebody or some mishap and got recorded. And the video is still available on YouTube. It's been 10 plus years. Now he's saying, I'm not getting married, mujhe ladki nahi mil rahi, mujhe ghar nahi mil raha, just because every time people Google my name, this video comes up. Why? Now he's applied for a right to forget. He's like, I've paid my fine, I've served my term. Now get me out of this. Now I'm out of it physically, but I'm not out of it digitally. How do you prove that? Nobody's going to go walk up to him and say his image is casted as soon as people know his name. So that right to forget a particular part of your personality or image that you once have regretted, how do you do that? That comes under right to forget. And that is something that means currently the case is going on in the courts, and let's see where that goes in terms of its analysis and data. Yes, please. Next. So as we were discussing for corporates, what are the advantages of being compliant with data privacy? The advantages are there's greater transparency, there is accountability. So if I'll give a very live example. If a company like Sopra says that, okay, we are compliant with the data privacy laws of, say, the GDPR or India, in that case, it gives a very high reputational value to a brand like your company in terms of projects, in terms of clients, in terms of customers, in terms of positioning, in terms of everything. So that is the most intangible yet most important advantage of something like getting in compliance with the data privacy, because I understand for you both the European and the Indian laws would be applicable equally. And obviously there are enhanced reputational benefits. There is, because you're going to claim this, you're going to have better data tackling techniques, better cyber resilience, etc., to meet the same. And the penalties, of course, in Europe are pretty high in terms of 20 million pounds or up to 4% of the annual turnover, whichever is greater. So it's basically sending a message that there is no option, but we all have to comply to that. Next, please. Yeah. So as I said, we'll discuss the 4 pillars of, disruption and how they legally shake up our new lives. No matter we are in our teens, 20s, 30s. I mean, I feel the saddest for 30s and 40s because we've seen more than we should have in one life, but that's how life is right now. So from no TV to TV everywhere, a screen everywhere, from children in their 30s to struggling to get a mobile phone, to children in 10-year-old not living without a mobile phone. It's it's a big change, but that's on a very mental level. But what about the legalities? What about a child using a phone? What about a 15-year-old child getting into the metaverse? But first of all, what is the metaverse? So I'll just break it down into a very technical definition and a very untangible definition. The untangible definition will be for all people who are probably from India or understand India. It's metaverse is basically a MayaNagri within a MayaNagri. So we are already, according to our upbringing, living in the MayaNagri, as we say, right? So a lot of I'd love to know how many people here are working on Web3 in terms of metaverse and blockchain. They are actually contributing in creating a MayaNagri within a MayaNagri. Now, the best part is that right now we are saying the Earth is a part of the Milky Way galaxy. Now, metaverse is just one, maybe it can even be one planet in the whole galaxy. And with the whole virtual world, there can be many galaxies. There is no end to it. You can have many galaxies, you can have many planets, you can have many moons, you can have many suns. Just जहाँ पे आपका data ज़्यादा आ जाए, वो आपकी in चीज हो जाएगी. Again, why data is the new oil? Why it is the new gold? Because it is going to fuel such ideas in the future. And when I say the future is not as far as it sounds, because COVID has shown it to us that how near we are to the future as much as we think we are far off. So, I mean, I'll give a very popular example of a movie, Three Idiots, which most of us have seen. Like, there's a song in that that says, "Give me another chance. I want to grow up once again." Metaverse is that chance. Now, how will you deal with that chance is a very psychological thing here. Because you're literally entering, from a legal perspective, a lawless land. You don't know what is there. You have no idea. There are no rules at the end of the day. Now, in this case, I'll take a very popular case which happened in Metaverse itself. It was a case of sexual harassment, wherein now people are taking avatars. Now, it's not even gender specific. A woman can take the avatar of a man can take the avatar of a woman, vice versa. I just hope they're not start taking avatars of animals, but again, that is even a possibility, right? So in this case, the women avatar was touted to put an allegation on male avatars of sexually harassing her in the metaverse. Now, this is still an ongoing case where people are like, okay, how do you define this? Now, a sexual harassment in a company comes under the POSH Act, right? There is a POSH committee dealing with it. What do you do in the metaverse? The people, the apparent accused are like, we can do anything we want. Who's going to stop us? Right. And because it's a artificially stimulated environment, the woman is saying, I felt more insulted than I should have because the stimulus was so high that I was feeling more than I should have. So these are the gray areas. These are the gray areas that we are dealing with right now in terms of legalities of the metaverse. This is just a very fleeting example. Now, something like we are working on, we are fractionalizing real estate, right? As a firm, like we're advising clients to fractionalize real estate, wherein suppose there is a building and you're supposed to sell like 100 square feet or 200 square feet part of each building to a different entity. Something like that is not possible on Earth right now, but it is possible in the metaverse. When you buy the land, whose land is it anyway? Like stuff like, okay, ye land hai, iske rights kya hai, ye kiske paas jaate hain. So these are the laws that come. And then there's a very big play of IPR here. Because IPR is basically intellectual property rights. I'll just give a 15-second roundup on what intellectual property rights is. Intellectual property rights is something that has been created with your intellect. Invisible, intangible, but something you've thought, creative. It can be patents, copyrights, trademarks, an animated creature, a song, a music, a tone, a painting, so on, so an invention, a software, like that. So metaverse is all artificial. So in a way, the whole of metaverse is an IP, and everything in it is an IP. So that is where IPR plays a very important role. That's the reason we took IPR as a topic, as a sideline to understand, because what all of you are doing here is creating softwares. So when you create, who owns it? I understand it's a client mostly, but in terms of ownership of the artist, who finally runs the show? Who finally monetizes it? These are the gray areas. Who sets the rule? The government will set the rule. But the fact of the matter is the rules are really in the gray right now. If I enter the metaverse right now and I kind of don't like somebody and I kind of abuse them and come back, take off my AR/VR headsets, who am I answerable to? Actually, nobody. But depends. Again, what are the rules, how they shape up. Which we call teleporting in a way. That's why I've mentioned teleporting here, that you can be teleported into any avatar and live the life of your dreams going forward. Or your dark side is the whole concern that the world is facing, that, a lot of dark desires of people will be unbottled if they are let in a lawless land. Yes. Next, please. Yeah. So the next pillar that we're going to take is the cryptocurrency. Crypto is just one of use case of blockchain, if I can say so. The whole backbone of Web3 being decentralized. And why crypto is really in, if I can say, is because crypto gives you power in terms of money, and a lot of things here are happening only because of money. And so that is the reason the Indian government has tendered it a non-legal a ledger that is only an asset like gold, like land, but it's not currency, because they don't want to give so much power to a particular transaction or this thing. In terms of it might just lead to a lot of chaos currently. And similarly, another use case of on the blockchain would be that of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, something that is unique, like what we are sitting in this boardroom right now with this setup. And if we click a picture right now, it will be a unique picture. It will be a picture which is one of its kind. And it similarly, if you had a PowerHour session 1 with somebody, so that would be your unique experience. So that would be one picture. The day when Sopra probably was inaugurated, this place, this building would be a picture. All of these can be an NFT, suppose, on the Sopra platform. And to understand that how they are going to monetize it is the game with virtual currencies. This also, as I briefly mentioned, opens a big doorway to the dark web. And that is where your laws come into place. क्या govern करेगा, कौन उस supply chain को govern करेगा. अभी तो if I can say so, there are a lot of policemen here who kind of, on the roads control supply chain. But what is the supply chain of the dark web? Who's controlling it? Nobody. Or maybe there are cyber authorities. But how deep will they go? Those are the laws that are governed under data privacy or IT rules in terms of Indian laws, and GDPR and the IT Act of Europe in terms of different countries in terms of Europe. In terms of intellectual property rights, that we were talking about, NFT is a very big example of what intellectual property rights will be, because an NFT is a creator's masterpiece in a way. Artist ne art create kiya. So that is the NFT. What is interesting here to note is how much is the artist also involved here? Earlier they were painting, it was hand painted. So you know who the artist is. Now there's softwares like DALL-E. I don't know if a lot of you know about it here. DALL-E is a AI-based NFT creator. So if I have a thought, I'll broadly put it in DALL-E, and DALL-E will create that painting for me. And that becomes an NFT. So isme artist kaun hua? So it comes a lot into the wallet. Who's controlling the wallet? Because जो wallet control करेगा in terms, वो कल को अपनी उस पे IP भी claim कर सकता है, और उसके rights, time stamping, काफी कुछ will depend on the wallet control of that particular person. I think a lot of techies here will appreciate what a wallet is and how it is an important backbone of everything that they create, and how it is being amalgamated with laws. Like NFTs, we know it's been created for NBAs, it's been created for very, very important movements in our Indian systems. It's been created for popular brands and etc. So Dubai is one of the very leading countries. In fact, the government of Dubai, which is basically the Prince of Dubai, has stated, that they are going in very hard on the metaverse and the virtual currency and the virtual world. And they're actually touting the rules because it's a first mover's advantage. Whether it's a government, whether it's a company, whether it's a individual, literally in this order. It is something we cannot escape from, but you have to define the rules. If somebody from Sopra is, logging into the, say, the OpenSea platform or some meta or the metaverse. Metaverse is basically one type of a virtual world. There are many more types of virtual worlds. So, and if something unlawful happens there, who is responsible? Is it the Noida authority? Is it Sopra? Or is it the metaverse, जिसने metaverse बनाया है? Or is it the Facebook? So these are the questions that are looming everybody right now. And these are the kind of things that law is aggressively running after to take its shape. Yeah, next please. This is a very interesting slide from the point of India in the 4 pillars like we discussed. There's data privacy. Data is the backbone. There's data privacy. There is metaverse. There is NFT. There is cryptocurrency, which we understand is currently taxable and as an asset in India. And now, but this, if everybody could just give me like 2 minutes here, ये बहुत interesting है from the perspective how we are growing as a nation and how for like Sopra also for their presence in India, they should understand how they need to align their stacks and their work in terms of the government, because Europe per se is probably a step ahead in terms of laws, but a step behind in terms of their tech stack right now. India is underway कि law बन रहे हैं पर हमारा tech stack उससे भी ज़्यादा तेज चल रहा है. When we say tech stack, हमारा tech stack as a country. So it should be leveraging India's tech stack, if not Web3. Actually, it's more than Web3 here. When we have the UPI, which nobody in the world has right now, the Aadhaar, the DigiLockers, the digitalization of land revenue records, there's agri-tech. And now the next big thing, which a lot of people are not talking about right now, and I think it will affect the way Sopra also works in a big way in terms of their advisory to their softwares and their clients, is the ONDC, the Open Network for Digital Commerce. This is known as Indian government's biggest startup. Why? Because they are basically opening a network of digital commerce for everybody to become a part of that. When we say a part of that, you can say like Amazon and Flipkart, but India say. Now, Amazon and Flipkart is only for products. This also includes your services. So it's catering to small scale businesses like your cab drivers, your probably small eateries, your restaurants, to your small product manufacturers, stuff. But to imagine the scalability of this network is beyond doubt. It's going to be huge because this was started in April 2022, and this has already raised around $200 million, I think, in a week of its flagship. So this is how it is. So this is going to be bigger than Amazon, Flipkart. They're saying they're not Amazon, Flipkart, because I think it's going to be bigger than that personally. Because the reason is that it'll include services and products alike for the whole of India. Companies like Snapdeal have aligned to it. Multiple restaurants have been listed on ONDC simply because they want that. What is happening in ONDC is the government is giving you an environment to do business. Again, the backbone of ONDC is data. They're like, we will give you the data. Aap healthcare company ho, come on us. We'll give you the healthcare data. Why are you spending money on customer acquisition costs? We'll give you the customer acquisition costs. Now there, in a place like that, once you are getting on a platform like that, all this whole tech stack, in essence, is being controlled by the Indian laws right now. Your fintech, your data recognition, all of this will fall under the data privacy laws that we have been discussing as of now, because that is where जो ये सारा data government, non-government authorities के पास है, how are they going to handle it? How are they going to use it? Is how it is going to matter. Something like it's a very interesting case in the metaverse. Again, I will go there in terms of NFTs, and I'm sure all of you have seen that movie of the popular character. I think Dil Dhadakne Zindagi Nahi Milegi Dobara. Yeah. So in that there was a scene of Bagwati, right? The Hermes bag is a Birkin. Now that bag is around 14 to 15 lakhs on earth. A designer has copied the same design of that bag and put it as an NFT and is selling it in Ethereum. Hermes has sent a cease and desist notice to that designer saying that they have to take off that bag. Now, who owns that bag? Now, somebody on earth who will never probably take a lifetime to earn 15 lakhs to spend on a bag worthy can actually go on the metaverse and buy it tomorrow. But वो IP किसकी है? वो तो Hermes की है. अब आप उसको copy करें ना. The designer saying कि art तो open है. मैंने तो drawing बनाई है. मैंने तो एक graphic बनाया है. अब मेरा graphic भी नहीं बनाऊं मैं उसका. So this is the debate that is going on right now, and I think rather than me just giving more examples, I'd love if there are any questions some people would like to ask to make it more interactive. But after the next slide, please. So while we walk in the uncharted territory, I'd like to see what all you have in terms of questions. I'm happy to address any queries or questions, if at all.
Yeah,
thank you.
Sure.
Yeah,
I do have a question.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
So, Shivaarti, I work for Sopra banking software. Okay. And we create softwares for banks and fintechs. Now, tomorrow, as time passes, we have Gen Z joining the banking customer. So tomorrow, if a client comes to us and say that we need to, create a metaverse sort of an experience for the clients.
In the banking space.
In the banking space, what type of, like how can we keep Sopra safe in that case so that these IPR laws and we don't get stretched into the IPR laws and all? What should we do?
Sure. So when you say in the Sopra banking in the metaverse, so is it like you want to create your own digital virtual world or you want to enter an existing virtual world?
I'm not sure exactly.
Okay, so there are two ways. Metaverse is basically the virtual world जैसे हम gaming में कहते हैं कि earlier it was 2D gaming, now it's 3D gaming. So basically it's gaming gone wild. The metaverse is gaming का कोई rule नहीं रहा है. हम तो Tetris खेलते थे, अब तो पूछो मत. You can play anything. Like people are actually playing each other in the metaverse. So yeah, so that way. So for a company into banking, it is highly confidential data under the data privacy laws. It comes under the sensitive personal data category, which is the category 2. And under that, it is the government's right. You need a government's go ahead, the Indian government's go ahead before transporting such data outside of India. Under the bill, it's not yet a law. ये bill आ रहा है कभी भी आ सकता है. But under the IT rules, there is a particular answerability. So that is the reason most of the companies are going into data localization currently. If you are building a software for India, you need to have a local server in India. Companies such as Paytm are actually moving their servers in India right now, massively. So to answer your specific question, if you're moving a software, banking software in the metaverse, basically you're giving your customers a virtual experience. Like they're walking into a bank and they're like, okay, give us our money or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, there are two ways. Either you create your own virtual world of Sopra, और उसमें एक bank है. Or you enter the metaverse or the other verses that are existing. Metaverse is basically Facebook's. It's big because it's Facebook. Similarly, Google also has one and Microsoft is also coming with one. So उसमें आप जाओ, you do a tie-up. In that case, you need to see कि जो आपके banking customers का data है, वो किसके पास जा रहा है. अगर तो आप Europe से enter कर रहे हो, there are other compliances. अगर आप India से enter कर रहे हो, there are separate compliances. So वो जो compliances हैं, is basically if you are entering from India, the data will be with Sopra. If it is going out of India, you need the government's permission, but the user in all case will know कि मेरा data Sopra के पास है, banking, और वो बाहर जा सकता है अगर मैं चाहूँ तो. In terms of data privacy और data protection का जो basic difference है, वो ये data privacy is कि you, me, Tarun as a customer can control कि उनका data कहाँ जा रहा है. He can say, you can access my data. No, you can't access my data. Data protection is when Sopra as a company is protecting their data through malware and other security. I'm sure the security teams here would know. That is data protection. So this is the difference between the two. I hope it answers your question.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Thank you.
And also, why is it such a mandate to have the local servers and data moved to the local servers? Is it because that we would like So if at all a situation arises where, you know, there is a hingement into the privacy, and we could do the trials as per the local laws, is that the reason why we are insisting upon?
That's a very good question. Actually, this is the most debated topic of the new bill. It's data localization. Ki data local kyun ho? But it is a part of the law set by the government because they want to have a particular say in the data movement.
Okay.
Because earlier it has been found by a lot of security agencies that the data has been moving to countries which may or may not be favorable for India as a geographical leader or a position.
Okay.
Like a lot of Chinese companies were banned in 2020.
Right.
The reason was, again, बात आप यहाँ कर रहे हो जहाँ वहाँ रही है. So it's like वो ये चाहते हैं कि घर की बात घर पे ही रहे. So, उसके बाद हम डिसाइड करेंगे. We are the big daddies in the house. We'll decide कि कौन सी बात बाहर जा रही है, कौन सी नहीं जा रही. Something like living in a joint family actually. So कि कैसे करना है, कौन पापा डिसाइड करेंगे बाहर क्या जा रहा है, like that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Shivaarti, we've also received a few questions. So
Sure.
one is, we all know about IPR laws, Web 2 and Web 3 separately, but what
Yeah.
weaves them together? Like you just said, conversations are happening to bring laws in place for the same. But are there already any laws already in place to support organization in terms of IPR laws? Yeah.
Yes, yes, of course. So Web 2, the IP enforcement and IP laws are very clearly laid out. Very clearly. कि trademark क्या है, like Sopra as a brand, उसका नाम है वो trademark है, Sopra as a logo trademark है, जो inventions होंगी वो patent होंगी, किस form में होंगी, copyright. But ये जो gray areas आ रहे हैं, ये Web 3 में आ रहे हैं. Now कल को if Sopra enters the Metaverse as a company, like I'll say for example, McDonald's has entered the Metaverse, right? They have entered the Metaverse as a company. उन्होंने Metaverse में अपना trademark लिया है. So, which is very important. उन्होंने Metaverse में अपना नाम register कराया, उन्होंने Metaverse में अपना M style register कराया, and now people in Metaverse are ordering fries and getting it delivered at home currently as we speak. तो अब अगर वो fries में defect आया तो आप कहाँ sue करोगे? आप land में sue करोगे, आप Metaverse में sue करोगे? So these are the discussions that are happening, and we might feel that it's very far-fetched, but it's very close to us right now. And IPR is very important in the Web3 space because decentralization, blockchain, it's basically a new world that is being created. And when I say created, the moment I say created, it means it's been created from an intellect because it is all coding. So when it's intellect, it all boils down to ye intellect kiska hai, who owns the IPR. So right now, there are we work on a lot of matters for trademarks in the Web3, for patents of softwares of in blockchain world, etc. So all this is happening as we speak. People are claiming their rights and they are getting it also.
Okay. Yeah. Another
Hello.
question is,
Hello, hi Deepti. Am I audible?
yes, you are.
Actually, my question is that one of my friend have a NFT and the cost of NFT was 30,000 around, and his account was hacked. Then what he do?
Well, the key to blockchain world is don't lose your key.
No,
That
he
was
have
the money.
उसके पास की थी लेकिन फिर भी वो hack हो गया and amount is zero right now and he pay around 30,000. He lost 30,000 around.
Okay, so it's a very good question because अगर आपकी hacking हो रही है, right? Hacking is always traceable, especially if it is in the blockchain world. I mean, you guys are techies in a big way, so you can know, you understand that timestamping कितनी important होती है and how it is easily identifiable in the blockchain world. That is the reason IPR be easily established in the blockchain world में, because the first creator syndrome is very easily established in the Web3 world. So, जो आप NFT का case कह रहे हो, I think
Yes.
it can be very well traced as to who hacked it, and because there was a very popular case in the US wherein there was a lot of hacking happening in terms of accounts in the Web3, and FBI took 3 to 6 months to trace everything in that chain. So the beauty of blockchain is that everything is traceable. It's decentralized yet traceable.
Yes, but where he can report? Is there any
Very good. Earth पे या beta बस. So
on any everywhere anywhere means?
हाँ, नहीं Earth पे report करेंगे in the cyber
Yes, yes.
security. Yes. संभालेगा फिर दो पे.
So वही उसको report करनी कहाँ चाहिए? Means is there any website or is
Yes,
there
there
any
is the, yes, there's the IT cell, and you can Google it, and the reports can be submitted.
Okay.
Because it's a
Thank-
case of hacking at the end of the day. And in fact, it's more easily traceable in the Web3.
Okay, okay, thank you.
Kavita, you may ask your question.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to take questions. I understand this is a very great topic that we're discussing here. So, yeah.
Hi, Shivaarti. Thank you so much for letting me ask my question.
Hi,
So
Kavita.
my question is like, I get a lot of calls from credit card people. So from where do they get the numbers? Like, and what is the way? Like, because phone number is like, it's not a private thing now. Anybody can
Yes.
call you and at any time, and there is no means how can I filter it, or how can I prevent them to call me? Because I miss a lot of important calls just because of spam
I
calls.
know it's Kavita, I totally understand. I always tell people, please number पहले भेज दो. I don't know if Airtel selling the same or if somebody my work call. So वो फर्क मैं समझती हूँ, but आप जो कह रहे हो ना, इसको दो चीजों में divide करेंगे. How can you prevent calls and वो calls आती क्यों है? These are your two questions, right?
Yes.
So वो calls आती है is the essence of data privacy. Now earlier in the Web 2 world, why I'm saying Web 2 is because it is easier for us to understand the difference. Web 2 में Telecom Act, the जिसपे आपके telephones वगैरह थे ना, IT Act के अंदर सब कुछ चल रहा था. So उसके अंदर there is a authority where you can report कि I don't want to receive spam calls and all, but then there is always a bypass to it. Now under the Data Privacy Act, this is just a very small example. ये तो आप experience कर रहे हो कि आपको एक phone call आया है. आपको पता ही नहीं आपका डेटा कहाँ कहाँ जा रहा है अगर आपकी कंपनी डेटा प्राइवेसी कंप्लायंट नहीं है तो. ये तो एक फोन नंबर आया और वो वाइल्ड मार रहे हैं कि चलो हमारा क्रेडिट कार्ड ले लो. They don't even know if you can or cannot afford it, or you already have 10 cards. But imagine when they already know that a person like you will definitely take a credit card, definitely of this amount, and definitely of this bank also, because it is closer to your house. And वो आपकी current needs customize करते हुए एक offer दे देंगे which you cannot say no to. So this is a more dangerous thing than you receiving a call. Calls are received because the telecom authorities kind of, the data has gone into the market from various loopholes, and only loopholes को cover करने के लिए is where the Data Privacy Act will be implemented in India. That's the reason.
Okay, so currently there is no such law.
No, there is a law, but there is a bypass to that law, if I can say so. Because the penalties are not that high. The punishments are not that grave right now. Because phone number is just one data that is being going out. But there's the whole personality of your data that is out in the market right now. That needs to be protected. For your phone number, you can obviously go and there is a telecom authority where you can register. You don't want to receive spam calls. Although in my personal experience, you still receive them because there's a bypass to it and you still kind of receive calls. But from what I hear, Mukesh Ambani भी दुखी है इस चीज से, because he said मुझे भी कॉल आते रहते हैं. मुझे जियो वाले सिम बेच रहा था. So I think it's a deeper problem here.
Okay, Shivaarti, just one more question. When we subscribe for even DND, okay, then also we get some calls. So basically, what I understand that there are two types of call. What is marketing and is a transactional call, like when we get received OTP or some kind of things. So but although we have registered on DND, still we get the marketing calls. I don't know how they made it do. And second thing is, isn't it a violation of the data privacy that you have also subscribed for DND, but still you are getting the call for this marketing related one?
So it is not a violation per se of the data privacy, because India में data privacy अभी bill है, अभी act बना नहीं है, वो law बना नहीं है. डिस्कशन में है, तो हम आईटी रूल और टेलीको रूल्स के अंडर चलते हैं. उसके अंडर दिस इज अ ब्रीच एंड इट कैन बी कंप्लेंट. if you're receiving calls even after registering in DND. But as I said again, even Mukesh Ambani gave a statement, कि वो भी दुखी है, उसको भी जियो के सिम बेच रहे हैं. So I think the bypass to it is so strong in terms of DND services that they use different IP addresses, different ways and methods to get data. Or it's so highly in recirculation right now that it has become a very voracious circle to curtail. But yes, legally, it can be fought and it can be complained holding DND as a registered authority कि आपने DND पे register किया था, still you're getting calls. It can be very well argued in the court.
And one more question, the recent TOTP, which are coming to the place, I mean, mandatory for mostly SEBI has mandatory that from September onwards, every demat account or every holdings that you need the TOTP. So, I mean, if you can explain that, what will be the implications or how we can be benefited with, because we have already seen this two-factor authentications from most of the apps, but why this TOTP is now needed to make it more feature, because sometimes some apps directly read from your messages and they directly read the OTPs from your messages. I know that it's depending on the permissions that you have given, but mostly we do it unintentionally as well. That so that's why just my second question is.
Yeah, sure. So this permission part, which you very rightly said, it's a very good question. यही सारी बैकबोन है हमारी डेटा प्रिवेसी की कि इसमें यूजर के पास परमिशन होगी. सो अगर आपने रिसेंटली देखा होगा, आपको सॉफ्टवेयर में एक अपडेट आया होगा wherein they are asking you whether your location should be tracked by a particular app or not, whether you wish to receive market redirection ads or not, whether you wish, I don't know if you've seen these updates in your software, especially Apple, whether you have wanting to share your information with the owner of the app. So these are the permissions that are coming in place now. ये सारी movement है towards data localization and data permission, these two things. So ये जो आप बोल रहे हैं data permission के अंदर आ रहा है, and here what the software and the user का जो interaction वो बना रहे हैं कि user decide करे मैं कितनी information चाहता हूँ, कि हो सकता है डेटिंग ऐप पे आप ज्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन देना चाहते हो, आप एक फिनटेक ऐप पे कम देना चाहते हो. So, ये आपकी इच्छा है. So, वो जो परमिशन है वो ग्रांट कर रहे हैं to a user. And secondly, जो आप सेबी वाला कह रहे हो, see these type of guidelines are all a part of data localization. If you want to understand on a policy front, because we also have a policy think tank and we advise a lot on the new age laws. So from a policy front, ये सारा data localization और उसके अंदर आ रहा है. जैसे the difference between our credit card and credit operations and credit card in Europe. यूरोप में तो आप 1 लाख की ट्रांजैक्शन भी करो हो जाती है, आपको पता नहीं लगता. आप इंडिया में 50 रुपए की कर रहे हो, आपको 2 OTP देना पड़ता है. पॉइंट नंबर 2, जब आप ऐप स्टोर से आप देख रहे हो, आप अगर कोई रिचार्ज कर रहे हो या अपना एंड्रॉइड फोन पे रिचार्ज कर रहे हो, अर्लियर इट वाज अ क्रेडिट कार्ड ट्रांजैक्शन. अब वो भी इन्होंने चेंज करके कर दिया, इधर यू पेड थ्रू वॉलेट और यू पेड थ्रू यूपीआई, उसे भी रिचार्ज बेस्ड कर दिया. सो सेबी जो कर रहा है इज आल्सो सबसेट ऑफ द सेम पॉलिसी कि डाटा धीरे धीरे जाए, ऑथेंटिक जाए और एक कंट्रोल्ड एनवायरनमेंट में जाए. दिस इज द रीजन दे आर डूइंग. आई होप दैट आंसर्स योर क्वेरी.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Alka, would you like to share your query?
Yeah, hi. Thanks, first of all, for the wonderful session. And it's just
Thank
out of curiosity when we were talking about Metaverse. So, can people register others' trademark on the Metaverse? Is how is it controlled?
Yeah, that's in fact a very good question. Yes, they can register other people's trademark. कल को कोई बंदा एम्स्टरडैम से उठ के बोले सोपरा स्टेरिया जाके रजिस्टर कर दे, बट उस पे फिर सोपरा केस कर सकती है. They can send a cease and desist notice to them. बट उसके लिए बेटर होगा कि सोपरा किस कंट्री में ऑपरेट कर रही है, ये बेटर है. बिकॉज अगर वो इट्स अ फ्रेंच लॉज और देन दे हैव टू फॉलो द लॉ ऑफ फ्रांस. एंड दिस इज द रीजन वी एडवाइज अ लॉट ऑफ पीपल कि अगर आपने आगे जाके you want to enter the metaverse or the virtual world in any form, आप वहाँ already अपने trademarks ले लीजिए. Like Disney World has taken a whole virtual trademark and a whole virtual land in the metaverse. Walmart, our very own Daler Mehndi has a bale bale land in the metaverse. So ये सारी चीजें इसलिए because उन लोगों ने अपने IPs protect कर लिए हैं and it is advised to protect your IP in the metaverse. But अगर और कोई आपका IP ले ले या कोई suppose Sopra के नाम से वहाँ पे IT tech company खोल दे तो the Sopra on Earth can send them a cease and desist notice. इस केस में a lot of burden of proof will rely on Sopra to prove that नहीं हम ही ओरिजिनल है. पर अगर सोप्रा ने पहले ही मेटावर्स में लिया होगा अपना ट्रेडमार्क तो उन पे लायबिलिटी नहीं आएगी तो वहां वैसे ही कोई नहीं उनको छेड़ेगा. So that's a short way to answer that.
Thank you.
Anukarsh, would you like to share your query?
Yeah. Hi, Shivaarti. So
Hi.
my question is, so any good positive action for any good positive change with metaverse? Because right now what I feel that it's just escaping from reality and people will have a hard time living in real world.
Very true, very true. MayaNagri में MayaNagri बन रही है तो मजे तो आएंगे. So you know it's like अब now I believe most of my audience will be engineers, right? अब इंडिया में इंजीनियर्स काफी कंडीशंस में काफी अच्छे हैं और terms of proportion we are a decent size. So but a lot of them maybe don't want to be an engineer, right? So they log into the metaverse and probably be a musician, probably be you know they can even stimulate a fake good voice in the metaverse. They don't necessarily need to have a good voice. They can be a painter, they can be a scuba diving instructor. So in a way अगर आप इसे positively देखो तो आप वो सब कर सकते हो जो आप इस जन्म पे धरती पे नहीं कर सकते. But it is a sword. अब आप उससे हवा में चलाओ या बंदे मारो ये it will depend on the user. It's a conscious, the conscious keeper is the first keeper and after that the law of the land will come into play. So, bright side तो आपके हाथ में ही होगी इसकी. Bright side वहां कोई नहीं आपको बताने वाला.
नहीं,
यहाँ
bright
नहीं
side राइट साइड एंटरटेनमेंट के अलावा इसमें क्या है, मतलब कंपनीज इसमें मूव कर रही हैं तो इसमें क्या, इसमें कुछ अच्छा कुछ बिजनेस है या फिर सिर्फ एंटरटेनमेंट है?
नहीं, इट्स नॉट ओनली एंटरटेनमेंट, इट्स प्योर बिजनेस. वहां लोग लैंड खरीद रहे हैं, बेच रहे हैं, एनएफटीज बन रही है. Ray-Ban has opened its store. वहां लोग शॉपिंग हो रही है. There are clothing companies. Walmart has opened its store in the virtual world. So it's business as usual there. It's basically a replica. In fact, it's a very interesting example जो आपने छेड़ा है. दुबई में there is a place I can't recall right now. जो सिटी का पूरा रेप्लिका बन रहा है वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में. और अगर आप सपोज 135 सेक्टर नोएडा में लैंड लेंगे, मैं इसका ही रेप्लिका बना दूं वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में तो आपको 135 सेक्टर नोएडा में वो पीस ऑफ लैंड आपको वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में भी मिल जाएगा. So it's a big business also for people.
What will they do with that land?
Yeah, like
it's a piece of code which they get it written in the contract कि आपका है. So they make money out of it depending on the country. So in a place like Dubai, crypto is allowed. That is why a lot of people are moving from India to Dubai. इंडिया में तो एसेट है. इंडिया में you're right, आप क्या बनाओगे उसमें 30% आप टैक्स दे दोगे, ऊपर से TDS है, you're traceable also. So it's better to buy in gold right now. So but बाहर जाके it is something like आपके पास आपने वो लैंड खरीदा, suppose I take a notional amount 100 tokens and वो 200 tokens का हो गया, so you can sell it and get to a profit of 100 tokens. It's gaming points. But it's real money. You can buy stuff. Yeah.
That raises,
Hi.
sorry to interrupt, but that then raises a follow-up question from my side. Like you mentioned that anybody can buy a land in sector 135, right?
Yes.
Maybe I'm the owner.
Just a hypothetical example, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying that in actual, in reality, for example, I'm the owner of that land, right? But in virtual reality, a person is, willing to buy that piece of land. So it is, something similar, like I asked in my previous question, what if I register somebody else's trademark?
नहीं, if you register, वो contest हो जाएगा. ऐसा नहीं है जो आपने register कर दिया वो establish हो गया.
I'm saying that I am the owner of that land in reality, but somebody claims that in the virtual reality, then that's also a conflict of interest, right?
It's
Nobody
a conflict
can-
of interest. Yes, that's a very good question. So there are contracts in place. That is how आज का जो हमने टॉपिक लिया उसमें हमने लॉ बहुत बड़ी बैकबोन रखी है, बिकॉज ये सब एट द एंड ऑफ द डे लॉ पे आके गिर जाएगा कि किसका है, ओनरशिप किसकी है. अभी तो हमारे धरती के लॉ के केसेस नहीं सॉल्व हो रहे जो मेटावर्स में जा रहे हैं, बट फैक्ट इज हम पहुंच चुके हैं वहां पे एंड हमें एड्रेस करने पड़ेंगे. सो अगर आपने 135 में एक एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ लैंड आपका है और कोई 135 वर्चुअल वर्ल्ड में भी ले रहा है वो लैंड, तो वो आप कंटेस्ट करोगे क्योंकि आपके पास उसका कॉन्ट्रैक्ट होगा वर्चुअल का, अगर वो उसी का ही रेप्लिका बन रहा है तो. ए बी वो कोई और वर्ल्ड है और आपने ऑलरेडी वो लैंड लिया तो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट आपके द स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट द डिजिटल सर्टिफिकेशन of that land will be with you as a person in your name, and that will be highly traceable because in blockchain everything is since it's decentralized, it's highly traceable on the ledger. So if that answers your question.
Thanks.
Charanpreet, would you like to go next?
Can hear me. Thank you, Shivaarti, for the great session. I have a quick two questions where I need your comments. The first is how far the Indian PDP law going to be from the GDPR? Because we are already abiding by the GDPR, being an European subsidiary. So as an activity, how much we have to do once the PDP will be imposed in India? So that is number one. And yeah.
Okay, go on.
And the second is, do you see in the future countries entering into data treaties like the way we have the tax treaties or we have, the social security benefit treaties with different countries for sharing the data? Do you see in future the countries will have a similar sort of a data treaties? So I need to your comments on these two questions.
These are very good questions. To answer your first question, the primary difference between GDPR and PDP bill is GDPR वहाँ law बन चुका है, यहाँ पे भी bill है, ये law बनेगा. But जब ये law बनेगा, the major backbone of the law is data localization. कि वो data India में ही रहेगा. India अगर वो product India में बन रहा है, Indians का data है तो वो India में रहेगा. So when you as a company will be doing contracts, you need to take this into very grave concern as a compliance. There needs to be a data redressal mechanism in the company. Data protection officer होगा और एक data protection authority बनेगी जिसपे वो सारी complaints जाएंगी as a country. A. Now coming on to your second question, which is what was that again? If you could just repeat it quickly.
Like I was asking, like the way we have the treaties between different countries.
Right. Yeah, of course. In fact, there's already a lot going on that matter, but we are in a pre-treaty stage. So a lot of treaties have been underway, but we are in a pre-treaty stage. But treaty से पहले आप अपना law तो बनाओगे ना? Treaty में क्या आप negotiate करोगे? So for implementing the treaties, which will inevitably happen, treaty तो sign होनी है. For that is the reason you are deciding कि हम अपने data का क्या करेंगे? How are we going to localize our data? How are we going to monetize our data? Like GDPR is currently very stringent. They even had a very famous Google Analytics case, which might be very important for a company like you. How a lot of users had issues with Google Analytics tracking everything they're doing and using and selling that data to US from Europe. So these are the things when they were told कि उनको server Europe में ही रखने पड़ेंगे in that particular country. So India is actually taking a hybrid approach. दो type की approach है. In America, it has been, it's very interesting to note here that in America, they have taken a call कि data रहेगा with the private companies, the Googles and the Apples of the world. Companies like China, etc. have taken a call कि government data रहेगा government के पास. Countries like India are taking a hybrid approach, wherein we are saying the data will be with a neutral authority, like somebody like ONDC, like I discussed, which is a game changer. It's a non-profit organization. So they might hold the data through a third-party server, and that server will be in India. Government can use and not use that data using permissions on and off. So it is in no man's land in India, at least. So, yeah. That's it.
We have a few more questions.
Yes, I have a question. Thanks for the informative session, Shivaarti. Uh, like lately you talked about crypto, right? So I own in India it is an asset, but I bought crypto when I am an Indian citizen, and when I move to another country, do I still have to pay tax for Indian government?
So it doesn't matter whether you're Indian citizen or not, depends where is your wallet.
Okay.
Where is the wallet? It's in India, it's in Dubai, it's in UK.
Yeah,
It's
it is in India.
So if it's in India, yes, you'll have to pay the 30% tax on the profits because it's an asset currently. It's not a currency. And 1% TDS on each transaction. Hope you made your margins.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Shivaarti. Hello, Shivaarti. So I'm Nishant. I have a question. So my question is basically twofold. One is what we have seen from the previous speakers is people have the concern that, for example, somebody lost 30,000 and somebody is getting unwanted calls. So especially the problem is with like small people or what you can say Aam Aadmi or retail people, where they do not know, either they are not aware, or if they are aware, they feel helpless because the process is very complex and cumbersome. So now when we'll go into Web 2, Web 3 and Web 4 in the future, and as you said, government is framing laws, is there a special concern for the retail or a small users, or a special protection being built in for the like a common man in these laws? Are you aware of that thing? And the second question is, because now the whole paradigm is changing. Earlier, the crime happened mostly physically, like either somebody beat you up or somebody took your land or something like that. In Metaverse, all of the crime will happen digitally, and there is a possibility that it will be like the numbers will be exponentially much larger. The crime numbers will be exponentially much larger than what has happened in the past.
At least they'll be reported because everything is traced. Yeah.
So the second part of question is are the laws being framed to know, like to ensure that the justice is delivered quickly? So there are two parts. Like first is what is the special protection being built in for the common man or the Aam Aadmi, and then what is being done to ensure that what we have learned from the past is that the cases are stuck for 20, 30 years and no resolution is found. Is there any is government utilizing that knowledge to build better laws?
Okay. Of course, Nishant, you said, right? Firstly, all laws are for the common man only, to begin with.
No, what I'm trying to say is that Ambani or Walmarts and McDonald's of the world, they have a lot of power and resource to like fight their case and get the resolution quickly. People like us, or like common man, as you may say, have to like, first they are not aware. Second, if they are aware, they have very little resource and they feel frustrated by the system. Like, is there like, my question is like SEBI is currently like doing building in special protection for the retail investors. For these future IPR laws or future technical tech laws, is government cognizant of that, and is a special effort being done to protect the common man?
Yes, of course, government is very much cognizant to that. That is the reason, data privacy is coming as a law, and the IT rules have been also amended in 2021 to include social media users. And in fact, one of the very important proposition is to trace कि ये जो WhatsApp पे वायरल कोई वीडियो होती है वो कहाँ से ओरिजिन होती है उसकी. There's a huge debate going on right now in that, because अब जो बनाता है वो तो नहीं ट्रेस होना चाहता, right? तभी वो बनाता है. So under the new bill, it is like traceability. So if you ask me in terms of justice, it is very, I understand the power is always lopsided, but the interesting part here is in this whole new tech age, it is more easy to establish facts, as we all know, because everything is time-stamped, tracked, and if you can trace a particular evidence, it becomes very easy to establish. And law is all about establishing your evidence and presenting it in a manner that is justifiable to everybody. So in that way, it in fact is enhancing a common man's power in the whole system, as we have seen, जिसका डेमो हम सोशल मीडिया में देख चुके हैं. जो earlier कभी प्रिंट और टीवी पे न्यूज नहीं आती थी, वो अब सोशल मीडिया पे आती है. So that is the power of common man right now that this digital age has given. वहां से न्यूज उठा के वो लोग टीवी और सोशल मीडिया पे दिखा रहे हैं. So this just shows the power of, in terms of just putting out information इतनी है, तो आप सोचिए जब इसे आप कोर्ट पे जाएंगे, आप लेके जाते हैं, तो it आपके facts ज़्यादा clear होते हैं. It doesn't matter whether you are A, B or C. A fact is a fact. Whether you're a common man or a not so common man doesn't matter. So this, it's what the facts are that can be enhanced more easily in the digital age, if that answers your query.
So you're saying that like if the facts are like easily or quickly established, the justice will follow through quickly also.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And so, and any like what I know is like from the past, like judges or the legal. No. For like I think about these topics. So for the legal fraternity has a particular type of knowledge, and they use that knowledge to deliver justice. So for example, just for the Elon Musk case, where like he's like walking away from the Twitter deal, it is now being heard in a special court in Delaware, which has the special requisite skills to deal with such kind of subjects. Right, so the legal fraternity should have some like a specialized knowledge to deal with such kind of cases, like especially in Metaverse. So, is there any like traction, any steps that been taken towards that?
Of course, there's the CCI, the Competition Commission of India, which is dealing with all your big tech cases right now in terms of your Facebooks, your WhatsApp, and all are heard at the Competition Commission of India currently. So the expertise is there. Expertise is not an issue, but drawing the law is an issue.
Expertise is there, but like again, I'm sorry, I'm taking up a lot of time, but Competition Commission of India has like very few people, and there is still a lot of backlog. And considering that there will be the numbers will be exponentially huge in future.
Yeah, so if the numbers will be huge, then there'll be enough digitalized softwares to enhance the process also.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Nishan. Thank you so much, Shivaarti. I know we have so many questions. We can see.
Okay. Please.
I think we'll just have to close it up, and people can take the questions offline. Who are in Noida, site 3 here, they can over tea, coffee, and lunch outside. They can discuss it offline, and other people can send it over email. Of course. Email, which can be answered.
LinkedIn.
We still have one question that I would like to take up. Shivaarti, would you like to tell what is the IPR law for selfies?
Selfies is the person who takes the selfie owns the selfie. But there is a very famous case of, I'm sure all of you follow viral Biryani karke, there's an Insta handle, जो stars की pictures लेता है. Now, there was a whole debate कि वो picture ऋतिक रोशन की हुई of ऋतिक रोशन coming out of the house और करीना कपूर, और या वो the handle viral की हुई, viral Biryani or something is called. So ultimately it was established कि उसमें watermark लगा के the IP would go to viral Biryani with the consent of the actor. So, but since selfie में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आपका phone, आपका camera, आपकी IP, आपकी शक्ल, it's all yours.
Can be taken with anybody and everybody. Means if I'm taking a selfie with somebody,
it is your IP because it's your camera and your angle, your your intellect putting on that particular selfie. So yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Now I would like to invite my colleague Shivani to quickly say a thank you note.
So hello everyone. On the behalf of Sopra Steria India and Sopra Banking Software India, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Ms. Shivaarti Bajaj for such an informative and wonderful session on intellectual property rights and legislation. And we are helpful for your time and effort that you put in and come to share your thoughts and experiences with us. So thanks a lot. And we would like to also thank everyone for joining in. And we have attended more than 500 people have attended this session and have made it interactive and wonderful session. So thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Shivani. Thank you, everyone at Sopra. Thanks to you, Tarun. And it is a pleasure to have this session. More power to your houses. Yeah.